I'm going to show you how to sow tomatoes. You can start sowing as early as January if you're growing under glass. They need a bit of heat to germinate. But it's not too late. If you're growing outside, it's not too late to sow them as late as April, ready for planting out at the beginning of June. So tomatoes are really easy to grow from seed. There's no need to buy them, and the thing about growing from seed is that you can choose varieties, so you can look through catalogues and choose exactly which ones you'd like to grow. So grow them in compost. You need some propagation compost, or actually just straight multi-purpose compost will do. Tomato seeds, as I said, are easy, they germinate easily, and so they're not fussy about what kind of compost. So this is a peat-free multi-purpose compost that I've got here, and it's quite fine. So I'm going to pour it into the pot, and I overfill the pot and then just very gently push it down and level it. So I've got a flat-bottomed glass that I use to tamp it. Any kind of tamping board, depending on the shape of the container that you're using, will do. And I'm just going to press very gently at the surface to firm it so that there's a firm level surface for sowing onto. If it's a bit bumpy, some composts are quite coarse, just use a sieve and just do a little fine covering. This is before you're sowing, just to make sure that it's a nice even surface. So next is moisten the compost. Now you don't want to go throwing water at it and disturbing that fine surface. So just take a tray of water. It's a really good idea to use tepid water so that you're not putting it into cold water. And then when you put it into the propagator, it's not got to gain that heat again. So just pop it in there for about 10 or 15 minutes and it will absorb the moisture, and you'll see the colour change on the surface of the pot once it's thoroughly soaked right through. So now the pot is soaked, you can see how dark it is on the surface there compared with the compost colour. It's ready for sowing. I'm going to label it first so that I can be absolutely sure that by the time I'm getting to cover the seed up, I've already established the label, particularly if you're doing several pots at once. You don't want to get confused and start labelling right at the end. So I'm just going to label with the variety and the date and pop it into the side of the pot. So next I'm going to sow the seed. I'm going to do several seeds in this pot and spaced out so that they've got plenty of room to germinate. And so I've got them on my hand there, and I'm going to lick the end of a pencil and just pick them up one at a time and place them down. I'm going around the edge of the pot, so I'm doing 5 around the edge, and then just because I can't resist it, 1 in the middle. Put the excess seed back. Tomato seeds keep for some time, so long as you keep them cool and dry, store them in a tin somewhere. Next I'm going to cover the seed. So take a sieve, a kitchen sieve will do, but obviously the more coarse the compost you're using, the bigger the sieve you'll have to use, and just sieve it down until it will go on as a fine covering. So I'm just going to put a bit in the top here and then cover the seed. So I'm covering to about 2 millimetres. And then because I've put the seed onto the firm moist surface and then I've put a dry covering over it, I'm just going to very gently tamp it down again. I'm literally just putting it on the surface because that means I'll get some absorption into the upper layer, so the moisture will go up to the seed, which it needs to germinate, and then the top will become moist. So I'm not going to water again. That's as much moisture as I'll need for germination for now. And so these need to be germinated at about 18 degrees C. If you can whack it up to 20, that's fine, but probably not much more than that for a slow germination. If you want to speed it up, go up as far as 24, but don't go any higher than that because germination tends to stop if it gets too hot. So I'm going to put these in a propagator. If you want to use something like this, that works really well. And that can go either on a heat mat or maybe in on a windowsill where it's warm in the kitchen, or you might consider putting it in a plastic bag on a windowsill. So long as it's getting a generally high temperature at some point during the day. So it doesn't have to be the entire day. In the propagator it gets it because that's how it's set, but it'll still germinate gradually. And you can expect within about 14 days, depending on the temperature, your pot of seedlings will look like that. And it's at that point that they're perfectly ready for the next stage of growth, which is pricking out.